What's happening, Shredder Nation? Happy Thursday. Welcome to a very, very special edition of Shredders Unite, which is the business opportunity side of the ERShred, 11-day elimination reset shred protocol. And tonight, we're really, really excited. We love to mix things up around here in Shredder Nation. And tonight, I'm switching jobs with our host, Mr. Bob Seivewright, and I'm taking over for tonight. So I'm your host tonight, Jesse James Jemnick. If we've never met, nice to meet you. If you're just coming in, please drop into the comments. Let us know where it is you're coming in from. And tonight, we're really, really excited to not only share what we believe to be as one of the best opportunities available to anybody, because it takes care of two really, really important things that we feel balances life and lets people live a really good quality of life, which is our health and our wealth. And we're really, really excited to break down some of the myths, break down some of the naysay, kind of dive into things, not tiptoe around issues. Like, let's just bash it open. Let's be raw and real, because the opportunity that is presented to us, this day and age, when somebody says no to me, I'm like, I feel bad for you. I feel bad for you because you just aren't understanding the bigger picture. And I really wish that people would just learn to have a more open mind, because what I've learned in life as I've gotten older and have made tons and tons and tons of mistakes is that the only way to continue to grow as a person is to fail forward and to always have an open mind, because you never know what opportunity is going to lead you to that end result of where you want to go in life, whatever that is. I don't know what that is for you. I know for me, I have massive goals, massive dreams. Sometimes when I share them with people, they get scared of them. They tell me I'm stupid. They don't understand. And I know when that happens, I'm on the right track. And tonight, I'm really excited to kind of show you a path, not a one-shot be-all, not a it's for everyone, but I want to show you a proven path and dive through some. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my other partner in crime, our other ERShred ambassador, usually the host of Shredders Unite. Welcome to your own call, Mr. Bob Seivewright.
Thank you, Jesse. Hey, this is fun.
What's it like to be on the opposite side of your own call? It's pretty fun, isn't it?
A little bit frightening, but it's fun.
For sure.
I like your home here in terms of the StreamYard. This is kind of cool.
I love it. I love it. You should come visit my home. I've been trying to tell you this. It's a beautiful place. So we got a lot of people coming on. Let's dive right into this, Bob, because I want to respect everybody's time tonight, and I want to pull as much value as we possibly can and put it on the table, because our job tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is not to sell you on anything. Our job tonight is not to pressure you on anything. Our job tonight is to educate you. And both Bob and myself, we love educating people about the opportunity, because then when you become educated, you now have the power of choice to make your own decision. And you can say, yes, I'm going to join, or no, it's not for me. And that's totally okay, but that's what our mission is tonight. So Bob, real quick, for people that don't know you, very, very quick background. You have a huge background in finance. I call you the money man. I joke around with that, but really in my mind, you are. I mean, for somebody that's made it to the levels that you made it in Wall Street, in the financial world, it's pretty damn impressive. But share with people real quick, a short background, and when did you start in network marketing with Isagenix, and just leave it right there for the time being, if you will.
Sure. Well, basically went to a private college, Alma College, as you pointed out. Basically, it was a finance, a business administration degree. Literally left Michigan, went to Atlanta, was involved in real estate. With that, I had to get my licenses. That was 1985. And then from there, 86 I was with Smith Barney, Bear Sterns in 88, which I was recruited to go there. And then in 1998, went to Morgan Stanley. And I was been in the business since basically 2004.
Yep.
I was a registered investment advisor at Bear Stearns, Morgan Stanley. I ended my career as a senior vice president, which is really a level that they give you based upon your production.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't that I was in management. Management to a degree, but it was more based on production, if that makes sense.
So if that's
So
the case, if that's the case, I'm reading through the lines and I'm looking at that we're pretty much a badass then, because your production led to your advancement, and senior vice president sounds like a pretty high position.
Well, it was, yeah, my business was a little bit unique coming from Bear Stearns. We supported hedge funds and high net worth individuals. $1 billion plus was the minimum size for my accounts. Yeah. I did about 250 million in retail, which I refer to individual accounts, and I had about $1 billion under advisement for institutional sales. And that basically is a little bit different world, but they look to me for advice, and then they would turn around and run trades through me. So it was a nice balance of a business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And you said billions, right, with the B?
Billion, yeah, billion, 250 million under management for me personally, and then it was a little over $1 billion as far as an institutional funds. Actually, it's about a couple billion in institutional funds that I helped support with advisement role as an advisory.
Very cool. So college, it was all finance. It was investing. It was taking money, making money. It was making the right moves. Then you get into the industry. Obviously, I would imagine there's some growth. There's some failure. There's some lefts. There's some rights. There's some learning curves. Like you worked your ass off. You stumbled. You finally figured it out. How long, when you got into that industry, Bob, did it take you to feel somewhat comfortable?
It was interesting. I was lucky from the aspect that I came from the real estate world of investing in terms of tax shelters. So everybody would have to be an accredited investor. They were multimillionaires already. When I left that company, because of the tax law changes, it basically ended. I kept the wealthiest people that I had relationships with. And when they found out that I went Smith Barney, all of them wanted to open up accounts. I was very, very lucky in that respect. I hit it off running, but it was terrifying because 86 was good. 87 was great until the crash in October of 87. Went through that. I was a young guy of about 25 going on 26. And a lot of the older guys said, wow, the greatest bull market just ended. I'm sorry, son, you just missed out on the best opportunity of your life. We feel bad for you. In terms of cycles, I've always said this to people, you got to go through good times. It's easy to be a good money manager in good times, but you got to go through bad times. So that first experience of 87 with the market crash was a great learning experience. It occurred again in the early 90s with the Mexican peso crisis. But I would say in terms of really hitting it in terms of where I was at, I would say it was a good 10 years. At that point, I'm talking about where I was on autopilot. I felt really good in good markets, bad markets, etc. But by then, I had seen a lot of cycles. And I had gone through with a lot of experience in the technology sector and how those stocks reacted in different economic cycles, which I think is important. I mean, that's the key to investing. It's understanding not only do you have a good company, but how is that company going to react in that economic cycle? If that makes sense. So it takes some time.
So you're talking, so you did, now the college you did, you have, what did you, is it bachelor's, master's? Did you go 4 years?
It was a bachelor's degree. Started the certified financial analyst, CFA. That was hard as hell. I was not going to get through level 3, and I pretty much called it quits.
4-year degree, right?
You got 7 years to get it, but you got to pass all 3 segments of it within 7 years. It's a challenging designation.
Yeah. So for you though, what did it? So was it 7, 6? Like I'm trying to see that I'm going somewhere with this. I promise you. But what was the time frame for you in learning that through college? How much did you spend through college? Like how much time?
Well, I had over 100 credits in business classes. I mean, however you want to divide that up, and 4 credit hours to a class, so you can do the math. It was about a little over 25 classes in business, but college does not prepare you for the real world, and it doesn't prepare you to be a broker.
But I mean, did you spend did you graduate in 4 years? Did you graduate in 5 years?
4 years.
Okay.
4 years.
You spent 4 years in college that you paid for to learn, right? Then you had to come out into the real world and you spent another 10 years. So I'm not really good at math, but that in my mind is 14 years of investing and grinding and not necessarily being where you wanted to be until you got to that point.
When I reached the level, the pinnacle of my career was really around 98. And that's where I was a consistent $1 million producer.
Okay.
And that's what I mean. When do you really finally arrive? I was a vice president at Bear Stearns in 1992. Okay. I got to that level. And that just means that I was in the top 15% of the brokers within that group, which is only 400 of us. It's a small, high-powered, small firm. But I'm just saying, you were asking me a question. When did you feel like you really arrived? So if I was going to consider myself from the network marketing aspect, when was I in the top 10 of this company? It probably was 14 years.
Okay.
College and 10 years of experience.
Remember, my main focus tonight, right, is we want to show why, where the opportunity is, where I've personally gone wrong, where I've noticed a lot of other people go wrong, so we can add that value and show how, ERShred, what I feel has been like, I've been at this game for a long time as well, never fully, arrived, if you will, but I feel the most authentic, most genuine, most real right now in doing what it is. So, but I need people to understand that you study this one way, you knew all this, you had this finance way. I heard you talk before that, money, it takes money to make money. In that type of world, I mean, that is a real thing, right? Like, that's not just something that people
100%. Like
you got to have
lots of capital to make money.
Right. You got to have good money to make good money, right? Like, you ain't going to get rich off of putting money in a savings account that's paying you, whatever the interest rate, 2% or 5% or something. It's like $5 a month or some shit like that on 40, 50,000 or whatever. But you gotta kind of be in the right place, right? So, I want people to kind of pay attention to each step of this as we kind of build, because this can all relate to what it is that obviously we're doing. And sometimes I feel like, Bob, one of the biggest mistakes that I made or that people make is that we come into something like this opportunity and all of a sudden we think we can, just make it, right? And I feel like we set ourselves up for failure because we're not, we get sold into these stories when there's so many other amazing, beautiful things that can transpire just saying yes to being part of a community of like this. Of uplifting like-minded people. So now, when you were first introduced to direct sales, network marketing, Isagenix in what year?
In Isagenix 2004.
2004. Okay.
So December of 2003. It was a previous company that we didn't do the network marketing model, but it was EcoQuest International. Linear purifiers. We co-branded it. Yeah. Little different way, did radio sales. That was 2000 when I was going through my divorce, 2003.
Yep. Okay. So 2003, you do Isagenix. Now, when you first heard about this model, this is a key point that I need people to understand because there's still a lot of disconnect in the world, I believe. And I think a lot of it is just, you don't know what you don't know. And it's lack of information. It's lack of being open-minded. When you first came in, share with me your wonderful thoughts about this business model, how excited you were and ecstatic doing backflips you were. I'm being sarcastic, right?
Yeah, I know.
And share with everybody what it was like for you to come from the world of college, 4 years, spending all this time in the financial world. This is why I was building this up as well. What was it like for you when you first heard about this business model? Because I feel like some people get stuck on this, and then I want to shift into what ultimately made you say yes and then get into it to get on the journey.
Gotcha. So basically, in my situation, it was probably Bear Sterns, 1994. I was in Chicago in 95, I think, when I was first asked to look at one of these business models where they actually sent me the comp plan. Yep. And you got to understand, I had a lot of clients, a lot of good clients. They're almost like family members, but they would literally say, you become kind of like an advisor. You're kind of on their inner circle. And they would say, hey, I've got a nephew or I've got a niece who would like to look at or get involved in one of these companies. Will you take a look at it? And you can't say no to your biggest clients, even though that's not what you're doing. I say, sure, send me the information. I'll take a look at it. So I started looking at the first business models in this industry, probably in 94, 95.
Okay.
But unfortunately, these were the old models that were very intricate. They were designed for most people to fail and very complex. They were either, they were unilevel, where you build wide to go deep. Yep. On a descending scale, get paid 10% first level down to 2% after 8 levels. And then it goes away. Breakaways, where I get lucky and I get a Jesse Jamnick on my team and he blows by me in rank and they break away, you lose them in your organization. So those are the things. And I literally hated every one of these things that were brought to my attention. And I was just disgusted by it because the advertising back then was more focused on the money, walking the beaches, being a millionaire, having your own private jet. Yeah. And it was ridiculous. So my opinion of network marketing couldn't be lower when I came into this industry, even with EcoQuest. The only reason why I did that is the guy who actually ran it out of California. They were the largest radio advertiser in Southern California, the biggest market in the U.S. And I thought, BS, can't be right. Flew out there, met him. Long and short, as we opened up Chicago and Dallas, I got Walter Payton to be our spokesperson on WBBM here in Chicago, and we were selling these things over the phone. I got all my old money manager friends, brokers, to take these phone calls. That was great until they moved manufacturing to China, and we started getting returns. That ended was a hot one good year, and it ended.
Yeah.
Isagenix, I came for health purposes, but Peter was like, dude, don't you see it? We're going to change the world. And I'm like, no, good for you, not for me. I don't want anything to do with these companies. Yeah. And I was just very frustrated, but I just felt they were designed to fail. And you had to be either a professional network marketer, having a large influencer audience that you could network to real quickly in order to be successful. But for the average person, I said, there's no way they're going to be successful in learning the skill set in a timely manner. And I said, you know what? I love the products. I'll just send you referrals, Peter. Yeah. So that's where I was at in 2004.
Gotcha. So you hated it, but the only reason you came in was because you had a good friend who recommended and said, hey, Bob, you're looking for health, these products, like, I'm putting my name behind it. I've tried it. Look what's happened to me. I mean, how do you deny someone's raw results, right? Like,
you can't, but to give
why you said yes?
To give credibility to this company that our fulfillment company is, Isagenix. Of course, Peter's giving me all the information. Little did I know, he also had access to John Anderson, the founding formulator, Dr. Harper, the head of the medical advisory board, and others. So I thought he'll tell you, I was the biggest jerk he ever talked to, but I always was putting him on the spot. Yeah. And I thought, okay, I know how to shut this guy up. Peter, I tell you what, I would love to take a look at it. Will your medical advisory board or whoever runs it, your Dr. Harper, will he be willing to talk to my doctor or a doctor of my choice? Yeah. And Peter said, I don't know, but let me check. I'm going to be right back to you. Called back. He goes, Dr. Harper said yes. And I'm like, no shit, really? Yeah. So I set the call up, and it was very amazing. I mean, my doctor really looked at it, and he said, Bob, this looks really good, but I won't know what it does for your body until you do it. But I recommend you try it because there's nothing in here that's going to hurt you, in my opinion. But I don't know what level of success you'll have. Gotcha. So I went on my own doctor's orders and said, okay, I guess I'm doing it. Yeah. I also told Peter that I would never do shakes the rest of my life. I said, I'll do it for 30 days, but I will get back to where I was at. I'm a healthy guy. I always ate right. Did it for 30 days. And then my doctor said, based on results, he said, you have a choice. You go. I would continue if I were you with this, because here's how great what this is doing for you. And if you don't go this route, you're going on medication. So what do you want to do? And I thought, oh, wow. I got to call Peter up and literally humble crawl and say, buddy, how do I get shakes? I don't know how to order this stuff. Yeah. So I literally started, based on my doctor's advice, down this path. And as you know, the longer I stayed with it, the better I felt. Right. And I was in it as a lifer, as a product consumer, but not for the business.
So when did it shift for you? When did you start to let go of the financial guy ego, the senior VP Wall Street guy ego, and take a look at what this opportunity could possibly bring to your life? When did that happen?
It happened in stages. It happened in stages for me, but 2006, after seeing 2 years of success, Peter was smart, and he had me get on every management call that he was on to be his ears for him. Okay. What do you think? What do you think? So I was involved. I got to hear all the stuff that was going on. Conversations with the Escobars, conversations with Jimmy Smith, Renata Lee, the Cougars, obviously. Yeah. But the interesting thing is that 2006, I said, okay, I'd like to meet the company. And he said, Top Achievers is next month, January, in Phoenix. I'll invite you down there. Why don't you go with me? And I'll take you down there and introduce you to everybody. Yep. So that was January 2006. And I had an opportunity. The company was small then still, but I had an opportunity to meet personally with Dr. Harper, the medical advisory board. Peter opened up all the doors, John Anderson, the Cougars. I was very impressed. I walked away from that event saying, holy cow, this is a real company. This is legitimate. And I could see myself getting behind this. I, however, still didn't believe it was designed for the little person or the person who didn't have business skills or didn't come from network marketing, but I believed in the product. Yeah. And I finally started to understand the business model.
Okay.
But it took me a little bit longer than that to say I'm all in. And if she's watching, the honor goes to Kathy Hellwig. I saw her start when I did.
Yeah.
I was on the same phone calls. At that point in time, when she started, she was a very introverted, shy individual. She didn't have a business background, but I watched her work her tail off, and she did. Her mentor was Kirk Metz, another Isagenix millionaire. She did everything Kirk coached her on. And bottom line is, her first year, I think she made about 20,000. I thought, okay, that's okay. Didn't light up my fire, but I thought she's working hard. That's impressive. That's interesting. Where my jaw dropped is the following year in 2006-07, she went from 20,000 to over 100,000. And when I saw her do that, that was the motivation for me to go, holy cow, this is real. This is legitimate.
Right.
I need to participate in a bigger way.
Yeah.
Still was not coachable. I thought I was smarter than everybody else. I went out and sold this to companies and got companies involved and their employees as a consumer, not as a business. I was not building business leaders. Yeah. So I was doing it the old school way of, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to talk to companies, HR, whoever I can get a hold of and get their employees on board. So it was me at the top, and there was very few people below me that were building the business. It was a house of cards from that aspect.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And so you learn, obviously, I mean, I think we all take paths, right? Because we all come from, the cool thing that I've found with network marketing is that once you actually, that's kind of what sold me too. It's funny because I had, unlike you, I was involved in quite a few. I did really well with a couple, but I could never actually help my team. And when this got presented to me, I was really turned off, but I was at a point that I was so frustrated with the nutrition industry that I just needed stuff that was actually pure, no bullshit, like raw ingredients, like just give me the legit stuff after I knew what I knew. And that's kind of how it got in. And then I very hesitantly, once you find something that works so amazing for you, this is the part that I think people just don't kind of, understand, right? Because it gets promoted in certain ways and there's all this fancy glam. And I'm like, it's really such a simple damn concept. It happens all day, every day, all around the world. I mean, gosh, if I shared ButcherBox with you, Bob, you get $30 off and I get a $30 thank you, except next time you order ButcherBox, I get Zipola. And if I help you with something like this, I get a reward. But if I spend more time with you and I actually give a crap about you and I lead from my heart and I care about people and I keep coaching them, well, that's the reward, right? Like I can keep getting that, where ButcherBox has to keep spending money on, big time marketing and advertising and magazines, and their acquisition cost per customer is probably like $30, $35. So they got a high overhead. We can genuinely share this authentically, and that's why the company is going to keep rewarding us. If people understood that, isn't that really the simplicity of this? Like now that you understand it, what am I missing on the business side or the financial side that some places people get stuck? And really, how can we maybe shift that mindset for them to share with them a different way to look at it? And because there's so many benefits to just saying yes to something like this, besides wanting to be this crazy millionaire. Like that's not always the end game for everyone.
No. Well, the thing so people really truly understand, I think we just in general, we tend to overcomplicate everything in life, and we want to analyze the numbers, just like as you probably get tired of how many people analyze our ingredients.
Yeah.
And they go through, but they'll go to McDonald's later in the day and get a McDonald's burger or whatever, right? We tend to overcomplicate it. And what I want people to understand is you do not have to have a financial background in order to be successful at this. In fact, honestly, I think that confuses things and complicates it.
So this is a complete 180 from what you just shared with us. This is a cool thing now, because this is one thing
I wanted to say.
But you thought in my personal financial background, and now you're like, no, an average person can do this.
They can, and this is what was my recognition. This was my aha moment. You got to understand that when I started, I was going through a 4-year financial divorce. Unfortunately, my ex-wife, she was at Goldman Sachs. I'm at Morgan Stanley. It was a financial divorce, and the attorneys ran the show, and it took about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
It was one of the most stressful things I've been through in my life. But the bottom line is that my mind was so polluted, and I was so negative, and I had such a bad attitude, not only towards money, because I thought money and greed was a big reason for my divorce, but I was also angry because it's a big money game in the divorce industry, with the divorce attorneys.
Yep.
And then finally, I just was frustrated. I was not in a good place. Personal development was the key for me. I had to get my mindset right. Peter pushed me to do Clemmer and Associates. I remember telling him, look, I did Zig Ziglar in the 80s. I mean, the mid 80s. I did Tony Robbins in 1988, 9, when it was his first year doing it.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that. IBM, Xerox, sales trainings, whatever. I felt that I knew it all. Thank God I listened to Peter. He pushed me really hard, but I went through the Clemmer program. And that was the key for me to opening up my mind and also getting my head right, if that makes sense. And that had to happen in order for me to be successful.
What were the key things in that, Bob, that you can share with somebody that maybe doesn't know that program, hasn't taken that program, or doesn't have that time? Because what people don't know about you is you divulge information faster and in more gulps than anybody that I've ever met in my entire life. So what are one or two key takeaways from that made you make that shift, that we can maybe help somebody who's on this call do the same thing to get them over to the other side? If that's what
for me, it was really easy. The financial world is very, I hate to say it, but I mean, it is kind of a narcissistic, materialistic about me.
Okay.
And it's a zero sum game. I'm in it to win it. On the other side of a transaction, they lost if I won. And it was that shark eat shark mindset that I lived in for my entire corporate career.
Okay.
I would say the switch from what was important was for me not only to understand myself, what makes me tick, but to basically realize that I was living in a scarcity mindset of it was a grab, mine, versus looking at it from an abundant mindset. The other aspect was getting my head correct about money, but more important than just money was understanding what my personal limiting beliefs and programs were and recognizing it and breaking through that garbage in my head that kept me from being the person that I could be. And that is, everything from a personality standpoint. I'm definitely an A+ controller. I hope I'm not like that as much anymore, but that was definitely me in the financial world. I don't know if you would have liked me back then, but I didn't have any time for anybody. Yeah. But now I try to basically look for nurturers, supporters. I look for promoters. I try to be in the middle of the graph, if you will, where I can be relatable to the people who are the accountants of the world. I can be relatable to the controllers of the world, the teachers, and the people who are just, in it for the sales. Woohoo, like Peter Greenwell, right? So it's a combination of factors that I think all added up. But, David Woods does that for our group. Obviously, you've recommended some really good books. Who's my buddy here? Think Like a Monk.
Yeah, Jay Shetty.
What a great book. I mean, bottom line is that was an important aspect of my recovery, to get from the corporate world, to be open enough to realize what were the keys to success for this industry.
Very cool. So would you suggest for somebody who's stuck, what books would you say could give somebody the right information to then turn around and make a very educated, very informed decision about this industry? Because I think, Bob, that unfortunately, I know I asked Bob the right question. Look at him go. Unfortunately, Bob, I find that so many people judge their decision about an opportunity like this based on somebody else's situation, somebody else's story. Typically, it's a mother, a father, a brother, sister's, girlfriend's, boyfriend who had a bad experience, i.e. they were lazy and didn't have a good work ethic, but yet then they turn around and blame something like this, like it was that fault. And that's the information they're going on. So what book or books or articles can we provide to people and maybe somebody can put these in the comments so they're there, if they don't mind. That will help somebody. And also, just Dr. Glenn's on. He's also another multi-million-dollar earner. Went from traditional business into this, and he said Clemmer was definitely a game changer at that time. Personal growth is absolutely the most important thing to work on. If you're not working on personal growth, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I just don't know. So anyways, sorry, Bob, answer that question. Books, knowledge.
All right. Here is the book that did it for me. It's called The New Professionals. It's still available in paperback. It was written, I think, in 2004. Dr. Charles King was a professor, Harvard-trained graduate that teaches at the University of Illinois. He wrote the book, and he did it as a class project to show them that the industry itself, network marketing, sucks and why it's bad.
Okay.
Because of this research the class did, he ends up writing a book, and in that book, he outlines why it's the single best opportunity and the best business platform that you will ever see. So it's Dr. Charles King. It's called The New Professionals, and you can find it on the New Professionals, the rise of network marketing as the next major profession. Awesome. And that's for the
guy. I'm sorry. Let me just make sure I got sorry. You said this is a guy that set out to do this project because he wanted to prove how bad it was, but yet because of the information he was willing to learn, he then realized what the bigger picture was and now changed his entire shift to saying that it's probably one of the best professions that you could get into.
Dr. King was a professor, at University of Illinois. He has a Harvard PhD.
Yeah.
He took his graduate students and said, we're going to do a case study analysis on network marketing.
Okay.
And let's go for it. Based upon that research in that semester, he collected all the data and they ended up putting the book together. The initial thought was that they were going to prove why it's a bad industry. And ultimately he came out with the view that it was the next best industry that as we evolved into the 2000s, this is where it's at. That book is what turned me around.
Can you give me the very, very Cliff Notes version of why does he say that this is the next best industry in a nutshell?
First of all, it's called influential selling, basically belly to belly. There's no better way than to get a referral. That's one. Number two was that the businesses themselves were designed where there's no glass ceilings. What it required in almost all instances is just some hard work and passion and, effort, but that anybody could succeed. You weren't limited based upon your education or your skill set or your abilities for that matter. Other than that, if you can open up your mouth and you can meet people and talk, the early bird gets the worm, so to speak. So those probably the 2 points, but they were also looking at it from referral-based marketing as the new direction that all corporations were going to, because there's nothing better than, even like, for example, you brought up what the steak company, ButcherBox. ButcherBox gives you a $30 affiliate fee for recommending somebody, but that's referral marketing as an example.
And Bob, this is this is everywhere now. I mean, Turner, every day in the mailbox, it's like, hey, if you refer a friend to Comcast or what the hell do I have? Spectrum Internet. I don't even know what the hell I have, but if I refer you, I get a $25 credit or a $40 credit on my next bill. And then boom, they get money for the next 3 years. I get nothing, right? Like you're just helping this company, and it's kind of the same concept, except where they have to take millions and millions and millions of dollars of investing and marketing. A company like this says, okay, you guys help us build it. You do the legwork, you do the hard work. And I need people to understand this is hard work. Like if you want to actually do something worthwhile. I mean, we got to be honest with people too, Bob. One of the things you pointed out was anybody can do it with hard work. Work. Like people got to stop thinking that shit just flies out of the sky. Like anything worthwhile is hard work, right? So that's an amazing.
Absolutely.
I would like to recommend two other books that might be able to help people. One of them is from another guy who drastically changed my life in all of business, and that's Robert Kiyosaki. And I recommend an entire his whole lineup of books if you're somebody who's looking to make this shift from, say, like an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset or an investor mindset. You can start off with the book that changed my life, which is called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And then you can move into a book that's called Cash Flow Quadrant, understanding the two different sides and how money works. Because if you don't understand how money works, you'll never understand how to love money. And that's another thing, is we need to wrap our head, right, Bob, around the fact that money is not.
So let me stop you there. That is key. So why I said yes to Peter to go to Top Achievers in 2006 is that looking at the Isagenix business model, I recognized real quickly that it's all about residual income.
Yep.
And for me as a money manager, I got paid a fee on the amount of money. It was easy. How much money do you manage? We'll take 1%, 1.2% of that. That's how much money I was making.
Right.
I was no longer commission based. I left that from Bear Sterns, went to Morgan Stanley to do fee based. I was looking for residual income. Did I want to be an insurance salesman? No. Did I want to go back in Wall Street? Not really. But when this was presented to me by Peter, I thought, and I talked to Jim Coover on no one better to talk about the comp plan, right? And he was explaining it in his way. I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting to me because real wealth is created on that quadrant, which is residual income. You want to basically go from, you don't want to be an employee, hourly worker, salaried worker, you're a slave to the job. You definitely don't want to be a business owner because you got the complexities of the cost and the time, the management, et cetera. That's a big, big drain. But the real key that I like, where I was making more money as a money manager than I was making managing my clients' money, if you can wrap your head around that.
Yep.
I was making more money on my own investments than my clients were paying me for fees. And that's when I decided I was going to break off on my own. But that said, I wanted to get back in that investment quadrant.
Gotcha.
And that's residual income. So this is what
if people don't understand, hold on, Bob. If people don't understand what Bob's talking about, this is where the book in particular, Cash Flow Quadrant, can help you understand without us breaking it down, because I still have other stuff that I want to get into with you guys. And we got to make sure we stay on time. So we can't teach you everything tonight, but definitely take notes, please, if you're not, so you can then educate yourself. Sorry, Bob. I just want to make sure that people are getting these nuggets, because we're putting a lot out there. And I really hope to, like I said, my goal tonight is just for people to leave feeling empowered to know where to go to find the information so they can make their own educated decision instead of listening to everybody else, which funny enough is the whole base around ERShred with our nutrition. Funny how it goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Right?
Absolutely.
For sure. Okay. So before I forget, Bob, sorry, let's move on to this. So Cash Flow Quadrant, and then the other one that will really help you, which sounds just as powerful as the book that you just shared, Bob, is his book that's called The Business of the 21st Century. And anybody, if you are looking to break into this industry at all, Robert Kiyosaki is not a man that's ever been involved in network marketing, mind you, but he is one of the biggest supporters of network marketing. And this book really explains to you the differences behind why you should get into this versus traditional business. And mind you, this is a man that's made millions and millions and millions of dollars in traditional business, right? But he's telling everybody that if he had to do it all over again, network marketing would 1000% be the way. And he gives us all the reasons. And one of the most important reasons for me, Bob, I'm not in a position where I could have invested with you when you were a senior VP of, Morgan Stanley or Burns and Sterling. How much would I had to even think about giving you in order to even make it worthwhile? Just give me this crazy number.
The number was 1.2 million.
1.2 million. Okay. So hold on one second. I'm going to go get that out of my bank account. So I don't have that. But what I love about this, one of the key things that Robert Kiyosaki points out, Bob, and you from a money standpoint, do you see where I'm going with this? Okay. What is one of the most beautiful things? And maybe we're on the same page. I'm going to see if you say the same thing that I would say. What's now one of the most beautiful things for you, having managed all that money and knowing you can only help those particular people that were already wealthy and figured it out? What's the coolest part about network marketing? You just shared about friends making good money. And by the way, we're not promising anything. Disclaimer, you have to work your ass off. Like, go to our disclaimer, which Heather will post for us, and you can see that. But you gotta do the time. What's one of the coolest things for you with a model like this?
I mean, I've talked about this often. It's called gratitude. And I can tell you, if I was still in my old industry and I died in a bear market, no one would come to my funeral.
Well, what I have to give
bear market meaning the market's in decline.
Yeah.
So if
I'm brand new and I just found you, Bob Seivewright, on the World Wide Web, right? Sly Fox. And I said, hey, Bob, I need help, dude. Like, you motivated me. Like, what's up? What am I looking at to now be able to work with the guy that I at one point in time would have to give $1.2 million to? Now, what am I looking at? And what do I get for that?
Hey, get healthy, be a product of the product, and be willing to share it with others and give the gift
and
of health and wellness.
What would be my investment?
$29 for your website if you want to be in the business side, outside of the food that we eat, our shakes and so forth.
So for $29, that gives me an entire opportunity. And then I have to learn that. That's like graduating and getting into the industry now. You told me in the beginning of the call, you spent 10 years, more than a doctor goes to school sometimes, 10 years before you got to that level. And now it's my job to learn. But one of the coolest things is, did you get any of the help, Bob? Did you get any of the coaching? Could people call millionaires and get advice in your industry? Or was it pretty much cutthroat and you guys were like all going for the person because you were getting paid off of how much money you managed, right? How did that?
It was cutthroat. It was relationship building. I had to network my tail off. The bottom line is that big money knows big money. So if you can get lucky enough to get in with a big investor and they like you, then you're going to have to ride their tailcoats to get into their world.
Gotcha.
And that's how I did it. It's very difficult, but it is cutthroat. But the other thing is this, is that when you think about people having to pick up the phone and call sales, we were cold calling in the 80s and we were calling CEOs and multimillionaires. And we had like a minute and a half at most on the phone. Not even a minute. I had about 30 seconds. Jesse, hi, it's Bob Seivewright. I'm a vice president with Bear Sterns. You're familiar with my firm, Bear Sterns. If you said yes, awesome. Jesse, I assume you got at least $1 million in the market. We're working with individuals who are comfortable investing at least $100,000 at a time. I'm sure you're in that ballpark. If you said yes, I would say, I know you're busy. I'm going to send you some information. Would it be okay if I contacted you the next time we at Bear Stearns took a major position in a stock that was to your liking?
Like, how nuts is that? How nuts is that, right? And
it was insane. But you're calling people that might be running L'Oreal Systems or Qualcomm or CEO at General Electric or their chief financial officer. They'll give you 30 seconds, maybe. But you got to be specific, targeted, get their attention. If they give you the yes, you send them, you qualify them the best you can, and then you send them the information. But then you got to call them up again and present an investment idea. So Bob, it's a lot. It's very complicated. It's hard work. But anyway,
Bob, real quick. Before you got into using this kind of nutrition and learning this way, try to think back to when you were working and grinding every day, dressing up in a suit, going to the office. Let me ask you a question, Bob. What did you used to eat for breakfast at that point in life?
Coffee.
Okay. So, and you would get that where?
Started at home at 4:35 in the morning with a pot of coffee that would be brewed. I had a timer on it.
Yeah.
2 cups, slug it, jump in the cab. I'd be downtown and I'd get a venti cup of Starbucks. And then I'd go up to my office.
So you're looking at, I don't know, what, like $3, $4 for coffee?
Back then it was probably, around $3-4. And I had my 2 cups at home.
Yeah. And then and then when lunchtime came around, what did you guys used to do for lunchtime?
I used to, because of the way I was a trader with technology stocks involved with traders.
Yeah.
I didn't eat lunch. I had a wonderful couple sales assistants, but Trish being one of them,
Yeah.
She would always run downstairs and grab me a sandwich.
Okay. And your sandwich was at what, like $10?
$10 maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Subway, whatever. Subway, whatever is available.
Bob, so between lunch and this, you already shared with me, you need to lose weight, you're unhealthy, you're not motivated, you have no energy. So if we could simply just shift the $10 that you're already spending on what you told me that is useless junk, and we could get you top quality nutrition that's guaranteed to, help you fuel or give you your money back, that would be a worthwhile investment in your mind?
Absolutely.
I don't think
it's a no-brainer.
I don't think people understand, Bob, that that's literally the cost of entry to get into something like this. And it can start that pure, that simple. You just did a call for me where you said, hey, I'm sure you got $1 million in the market. We're looking for people to get $100,000. I need people to understand the raw basics of this. It's that simple. You know what I mean? Like, people don't realize like the cost of entry to something like this, right? I mean, we're looking at $300 and you're buying food. You're literally eating your overhead. I don't know any other business model that I've ever done, and I've played in a lot, where you can literally eat your own overhead, is the point that I'm trying to get across to people, to understand another key value of why this is such an important thing for people, and why anybody can get involved, because that cost of entry, that barrier is so low for the average person. So if you have no experience at all and you're willing to work hard and you're willing to grind and you're willing to be a good student, you have literally all the requirements. Like, if we posted a job entry, right, Bob? Hey, we need people on our team. Here's the requirements. You got to have an open mind. You got to be willing to work your ass off. You got to be willing to fail forward and learn. And you have to be willing to have a good student. And by the way, I'll teach you for free all the mistakes I made, so you don't have to do that. And you get to eat your own overhead.
And you got to be healthy.
Maybe I'm dumb. Maybe I'm stupid. I waited to go to college till I knew what I wanted to do with nutrition, but am I missing something here? Like, where's this disconnect?
Here's one thing I want to point out real quick on this specific subject. This is all about money mindset. This is all about personal development. But one of the big issues with network marketing is it has a bad rap, has a bad name, because people think it's a scam. They think it's not real. They don't think it's a legitimate industry. And I'm going to say that because of my poor ass attitude, I spent my first 5 years up to 2009 not giving it any credibility. And I always told, and it was all ego, I told my friends, I will never make the money that I made on Wall Street, but I could make okay money. Oh, yeah. What's okay money to you? Well, I used to say that over and over and over again. And your thoughts are so powerful. And that I had in my head, that was my limitation.
Yep.
The awareness was that I ran into Peter one year. And I said, how much have you made this year? And he hit it and said, oh, I'm at 1.47 million. Okay, that was 2017, 15. No, I'm sorry, 2007, maybe 2009, 10, somewhere in there. But it was over 1.4 million. And I'm like, wow. And then that night, I happened to be going through some old paperwork, and I ran across an old tax return in 2000 or 1999 and 2000. That was one of my peak years. And I made 1.4 million, not including my investments, but 1.4 million. And that was my high spot. And here Peter blew by me. And again, he didn't. This is the opportunity. That was something that really shook my world. There is no income cap with this industry. Yeah. It's mind blowing. So I want to give it the credibility it deserves. We want to be up there with neurosurgeons, scientists. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that that's what, is that scary to somebody? That's a hard concept to grasp, right? Like, most people aren't used to that. We're used to our entire life basically being told what to do, right? From elementary school, you sit here, you raise your hand when you need to speak, you do this all the way through college. Like, my feelings on this are very different than the average person. This isn't the right place for them to share them, but it's different, right? So we're told this. Is that part of like the process of what's wrong? Like, people are just like, it's almost like it's too good to be true. So how can it be true? And when you got to realize that, I remember you telling me that on one of our chats that we had. You said, Jesse, what really kicked me in the mouth was when Peter matched what I made after all those years on Wall Street. You know, in my mind, the top of the top, like, you know, this is what I went to school for. This is the direction that everybody said I had to go. I got to be a professional. It's the only way to make money. And here you are, your friend is matching what you made after, I don't know how, you said, what year was this, 2000?
I think it was 2009 or 10, because this is about the time when Peter said, "Hey, buddy," it was during the financial crisis. And
what I'm trying to get to is how many years was he involved in this to get to that point?
At that number, I mean, I think he had been in the company for 6 years.
Okay, so 6 years compared to your 10. So right there, we already shaved off 4. You know, the compounding interest, and what you know, Peter is obviously a workaholic. I mean, the man is just zoned in and fired in, and you know, granted, you don't make that kind of money in any industry. I mean, let's just be very real, right? Unless you are willing to grind. Exclamation point. But the potential is there, is what we want to show people. You don't have to want to get there, right? Like, you don't
and I can get there. And I can also say this. I think that we're all programmed based upon, you go to school to get a degree, and they tell you, oh, you want to be a teacher. Okay, every teacher
was a cabinet salesman, by the way.
Right, he was a cabinet salesman. Teacher makes X, Y, Z. Oh, you want to be a manager, office manager, high-tech person, IT, software analyst. They have it all, like you can go on LinkedIn and they have it all broken out what you can make. Oh, you're going to be a neurosurgeon. Okay, you can make maybe 500,000, maybe it's 750. But you know, my point is that you have the opportunity for the average person to make CEO type money, which is insane, which is where Peter's at. The other thing I want to say is where my shortfall is with this business, and I promised Sean today that I'm going to go all in like I did on the Wall Street years, and that is, for those that watch the movie Wall Street, that was me in the 80s, but I was working all day long and taking my work home and doing research while at home, because you don't have time during the day to do the research. So you're working to midnight, going to bed, you're getting up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and you're going again. And that was me nonstop living on coffee. I did not put even close to the hours in like that. My point is that most of us in this industry don't take it seriously, and we don't put the time and effort. For example, how hard do you work? You've told me you've worked 10, 12, 13-hour days sometimes.
Are you talking about with the business that my dad and I run, our self-employed business? Bro, 6 days a week, literally leave my house at 8:30. Most of the times I'm running in between 6 o'clock and 7:30 at night. You got to grind, you know what I mean? And we got people knocking down our doors because it's only 2 of us. We can't keep up.
But my point being is, if we had that sincere focus on the industry and had that work ethic, which Peter has, by the way, Sean had that for years. That's where you can make the serious money. If you just show up like it's a regular job. Teachers put an enormous amount of time in to their craft. Not only from just teaching, but class prep to grading, etc. That's my point, is that I don't think people treat this as a real job, and therefore, I mean, they still have success. But the people at the top are the ones who say, hey, it is network marketing. It's not net free marketing, right? You're working.
Right.
It's easy.
Well, I think that comes into where you said, Bob, that, you know, unfortunately, if you've been around long enough, I don't blame you for having a bad taste about the industry. There's sadly some really bad apples, some really bad examples, some shitty products that have been introduced, some people that were at the top that absolutely did not care about their field at all. And as long as they made money and they had a way out. So I can understand that if somebody was around that or seen that or been in that, but, you know, I hope that we're sharing with people the new way of doing it, the new age of doing it, because when you can actually, you know, one of the coolest things is I miss our in-person events. That's what changed it for me, because when I was actually able to go to one of these and see, at the time it was 18,000 people from around the world, I met people that were multimillionaires in other businesses, but still had this business. I met people that were running the top health podcast, running the top money mindset podcast. I met people that were at the top of their game in the fitness industry. I met people that were in law enforcement, that were lawyers. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not sleazy, slimy sales. Like, these people are like real deal quote unquote, what everybody looks at as successful people getting involved in this company and this industry. And that made me kind of really open up even more and say, wow. And I hope people give it that shot, because it's a beautiful thing if you actually get in. It's Eric Worre, one of my mentors. He's, obviously everybody knows him in the network marketing industry, but he always says, like, he just wishes everybody would go pro. And it's not that it's a perfect industry. There's no such thing. But it is a proven fact that it is a better way. There's nothing else, if you actually compare the red and the blue and put the ink on the paper, tit for tat. And I know you'll agree with this. There's no other profession that can actually compare to the compounding interest and the freedom that you can get, because usually as you make more, you have to put in more and more and more and invest. And you can do that with this if that's your choice. But because of the compounding side of it, you create a true residual income. So all that hard work, all that grind that would normally be for a company if you're an employee, or your small business that you can only take so far, now starts to compound itself over the years. And for me, 6 years in, I'm feeling that effect. And I'm so glad I didn't give up. And I'm so glad I didn't say no.
I think for our audience, make a 3 to 5 year commitment. If you can say, I'm going to go balls to the wall for 3 to 5 years, that's all it takes. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that the opportunity is that this is not an either or. This is an and. And I treat this as an investment opportunity, not as another business. Yes. Because if you do this in the side hours of time, and I know people who built this up big in just 2 hours a night, but it was a dedicated 2 hours of work. You can create an investment stream, second stream of income that can surpass your own salary. Then it's your choice. That's the empowerment. Then you have a choice. Do I want to go full time, or do I want to keep? I love my job. I'm going to keep working my job. Perfect. This becomes one of the single best investment opportunities I've ever seen.
I've literally, in my short time in this company, which is much shorter than yours, I've personally witnessed, like, not like a cardboard cutout person, not some on the internet person. I'm talking like, actually, I have a relationship with them. I can call them on the telephone. I can say hi to them. I know their kids' names, like real people, right? I have personally watched multiple handfuls of people do exactly what you just said. Literally literally do exactly what you just described. Some choose to still do both and are very, very happy. Some choose to really just start, they now freed up the time where they're not what people have called it. They're a slave to themselves. They're a puppet to their company. I mean, I've heard it explained as all different ways, and the freedom that you can get from, surpassing yourself and then having that to where you're making that money, but now you can free up the time for family or kids or ball games, or, if you want to, set your time to work early morning and late night, but take the middle off because you're a mom with younger kids. I mean, the opportunities, Bob, is what I'm trying to share with people, are endless of the way that you can get it done. I think sometimes people get mixed up in like, well, I can't do what that guy does. Nobody asked you to. Nobody asked you to. There's multiple ways. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, you don't got to eat the foods that I eat because it could be your poison. Nobody asked you to do that. And I think it's so important that we make that point. So thank you for bringing that up and kind of, jive in that conversation. We already talked about culture. We talked about how much help people get. We talked about the cost of investment is very, very low. So the average person, I mean, we're paying $1,400, $1,500 for a cell phone. We're talking $300 for an entire month's worth of literally the world's best superfoods that are going to get you healthier than any other point in your life. I will stamp my life on that. That's the point that I'm at right now with our protocol. I mean, shit, what else are we missing, dude? We gave people the books. We gave them the information. We gave them the knowledge that they need. You're a guy coming from the financial world, which I think is huge credibility. Let's talk about culture a little bit, Bob. Let's talk about, what do I mean by people can come into this not knowing anything, share with somebody what they can get besides the amazing health. Once they have that, if they naturally start to share, what what's available for people? What do people maybe not know? What can they get their hands on?
First, as you've always said, your health is priceless. I mean, that is worth gold.
That's worth everything gold right there. Never mind.
That's worth everything.
Crap, right? Like this is a bonus.
We got a lot of people in our group, and myself included, that are beginning to get older. But I am going to be 60 at the end of this year. But I don't feel that. And that's the point. You want to live your optimal life. I don't want to basically be limited because, you're older. That sucks. It's health. But the other part of it is that you're part of a group, a community of like-minded individuals that want to help others enjoy the same. And this is where we have something that is so, so unique. Yeah. And I know John Maxwell, Intentional Living, is the one I messed up. I was calling it Living Intentionally. This is a great book for our industry because it talks about the most important aspect, and that is significance.
Yeah.
What is going to give you significance in this world? What do you want to put on your gravestone? What is the difference? What is the impact in this world you're going to make? What's the legacy you're going to leave your kids? This business opportunity of what we have with ERShred has all aspects of that. We've got the community. We have the vision. We have the purpose. We have the opportunity to change lives in such a positive way that doesn't matter. When I look what I used to do and make rich people richer, I know a lot of those old wealthy dudes died because they didn't live a long life.
Yep.
I mean, it just so happened. They didn't get an opportunity to really enjoy their wealth.
Yep.
My best friends, you ask, what else do you get? My best friends are in this industry, are in this family of ERShred. By far, these are my people. This is who I want to hang out with. Who are we? We have servant hearts. We want to make a difference. We want people to be successful. I've never seen this in network marketing, where we've created a community of people who aren't even financially connected, but from any individual in this group, look at their posts, look how they're willing to raise their hand and support and help one another. It is a beautiful thing. So you get community, which is, I think, the most important thing. You get the gratitude for making a difference. You have the opportunity, the time freedom to live a quality life, not a life that's being determined or basically set for you when to show up and how many hours a week to work and when you take vacation, etc. You have freedom of choice. You have freedom of understanding what, as you say, foods fuel you. That was a big awareness for me. Talking about it, Sean, today. I wish I had this stuff earlier, but doing what I thought was really, really good only got me about 75%, even that. I look at myself today, I'm a different person in 10 months. This has rocked my world. I am feeling better. I'm lean. My mental capacity, I sleep better. I'm more alert. This has put me on fire. It's the protocol that has given me this wealth.
Yeah.
That's the value.
Yeah.
And finally, you get to build it with people who are building it with you. You're not doing this by yourself. You're building it with your team.
Dude,
how crazy is that?
That is so important that people, one of the coolest things is that you're in business, for yourself, but you're never in business by yourself. And that is such a powerful thing to grasp, because if you start your own business, you can't go down the street to the competitor and ask for help. They're going to tell you to screw off. You can't pay some, you know what I mean? Like, you can't get the information and the support that you can get in anywhere else in the world than with this industry. And again, your cost for this, if you are running traditional business, I don't think people understand the cost factor that comes into play. And with an opportunity like this, a business opportunity like this, legitimate, right? As long as you're willing to work, as long as you're willing to treat it like a business, as long as you're not willing to make it a hobby, because then you'll only get it like that and get those rewards. You got to be real with it. But it's a place where you can make a steady forward progression and set yourself up. I kind of lost the point that I was on. The
key to success in any business is to have good mentorship.
Basically,
have somebody who's going to be able to pull you up the ladder along with you. And that there's a little bit of corporate struggle in that industry because the boss doesn't want you to pass them up type thing, right? Here, it's a little bit opposite. You want the people below you being more successful than you are. Yeah. And I'm going to tell everybody on our ERShred group, please take advantage of the people who have been successful. They will, if you call them up, most cases they're going to get back to you and they're going to give you their advice. And I have, you know, I'm just lucky, but I've had an opportunity to meet Randy and Tony over the years, got to know them. I don't call them all the time, but when I need something like, hey, I really need some good advice, I'll give them a ring. And it's so cool to get a call back from them thinking, holy shit, they called me back. Yeah. And I ask them, and they, from the heart, they give me their best advice, and they put this company on the map. I don't know if people really understand the value we have, which is the Escobars, in terms of understanding what makes this thing tick and how we can all be successful. So we have it all.
You probably don't, to be honest with you, but I hope that we're sharing some of this value because you're right. It's we have access to so much, you know, and that's another thing too, like, you know, just going to one of our events, right? Our big 4 events, which are starting up again live next year. Just going to that, right? We're talking what, like $125 for the cost of this ticket. You get, I mean, I got to see people like Brendan Burchard on stage. I got to see Tony Robbins. I got to see, you know, private concerts. I mean, who else have we had over the last couple of years? I mean, I would have had to pay $15,000 to go and learn from Tony what I got. Because I was part of this and they believe in self-development. They want to provide that to us. And for the cost of a ticket to a 4-day extravaganza, I got this information, right? That's one of
the best things is personal connections, everything. But one of the best things is that if you go to these events, you will identify with somebody on stage where you're going, oh my God, that was me. Yeah. You're going to be able to connect, relate to them at a level that you're like, wow, okay, I actually could do this. But it was Jimmy Smith on stage that made the comment that he failed in his first 3 network marketing companies before he made it. And then he still saw Isagenix and said, this is a better opportunity. And at the age of 74, started all over again. I never would advise my grandfather or dad to do that.
And went on to make how much money from that point at the age of 74?
Well, all I know is that his 2 daughters that went with him, the 3 positions I know it's over $60 million.
$60 million. So, I mean, there you go, right? Like this, again, another example.
But he started at 74. I'm not even there yet.
But that's another just great example that people got to understand. But I think, you know, let's figure out, So community is key, what people get, right? That was where we kind of started with this. Let's bring it back to that to kind of wrap this part up. So people get basically a wealth of free information, a wealth of free knowledge. This all comes with the simple cost of admission, which is buying food that's fueling your body to get you healthy. I got to keep reminding you of this. Like, you're getting all of this for literally $10 a day. Like, I don't understand. Like, people that spend, they go out to Starbucks, spend $5 on 2 coffees a day. Like, you are spending this money feeling like shit, and you're going to get amazingly healthy. And oh, by the way, if you decide, this is all available to you too. You don't have to take it. You're not pressured to take it, but you got to understand that it's there for you to at least grasp. And some of the most successful people that I've met in this industry, in our company, started off like you. They said, hell no, I'm never doing that. They had the wrong impression. They came alive, right? And then boom. Now, one of the things, Bob, let's touch on this. I know we're going over, but I don't care because this is rocking right now. Let's talk about ERShred and what we're so jacked up about. When Isagenix started way back in 2002, you guys built this company on a 9-day system. This 9-day system literally transform people's lives. I'm talking like people were like sharing results like we've never experienced before. Then one of my big pet peeves in the world of fitness and nutrition is all the hoopla, boopla bullshit that goes on in this industry. Take this magic gel, take this magic potion, take this, take this. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Like, how can we benefit from all this stuff if we're not even freaking healthy and we don't even understand what foods to eat, how it's controlling our hormones? Like, I feel like we got this whole world upside down and ass backwards, right? And this is my passion comes from, if anybody wants to know why I'm fired up every day, because I need to change this industry because it's bullshit, and I suffered through it. Suffered for so long, and then finally cracked it. And now I can share this with people, Bob. It's like natural, right? Like I already did this, and now I get rewarded. And people sometimes look at that as like, well, you know, you're making money off of people. So is every freaking business in the world. If I go to see a doctor and I need to go through an elimination protocol, $1,500 to $5,000 plus dollars. I'll help you for 11 days for free. Come on, dude. Like if you're gonna cry because a little bit of a change on the back end that you can also share in, you're not my person. Anyways, let's get back on. So we get into that, right? And people just need to understand like, what we got. Why are we so jacked up about the ERShred? For me, Bob, it makes me feel authentic. It makes me feel genuine. It makes me feel real because I don't have to pump bottles of pills anymore. I don't have to pump potions. I don't have to pump shit. And the results that we've seen over the course of the last year, the proof of concept, mind-blowing, your results, your inner blood results. Now, mind you, we're not treating you, we're not curing you, we're not preventing your damn disease. But what we can do is we can teach you how to fuel your body for peak performance. And when we have an authentic product, Bob, the business specialist and the financial guy, which I just spent the last hour building and showing people that you know what the hell you're talking about. Why is this concept of simplicity of the ERShred and the results, the profound results that we're getting? Why is this a rocket ship for that book that you told everybody to read? How can this like explode? I need people to know the vision, the big vision. This is like the $100 million question. No pressure.
So there's a book called the Next Trillion, or what was it? The Health, the Wellness Revolution, Next $1 Trillion Industry. Paul Zane Pilzer, great book.
Okay.
The issue facing our country, our world today, we're in a health crisis. So when you invest in any stock or investment, you want to know what is your audience and who are you going to be able to communicate that to. In the instance, in terms of what we do for people with ERShred, we have an unlimited marketplace. It's everybody walking this earth. There's not another industry in this world that can say everybody could be their customer. Maybe Amazon thinks that way, but not even Amazon could say that.
Why would you say everybody?
Because this is a protocol that gets your health back, but addresses some of the biggest issues from the standpoint of our weight, our mental mindset, our ability to understand foods and what foods work for us and what do not. That's the biggest issue. That's the code. We cracked the code with the elimination aspect. Sean did. Finally, it's your health. Now, my biggest issue was red meat. I was freaked out about it. You brought up my blood results. My doctor asked me to do a calcium score, CT scan of my arteries. It came back after 7 months on this program, 0. Now, that's me. That's not anybody else. But I know from my past history, this is the best score I've ever had.
Yep.
So has the ERShred impacted my health?
Why does it make this a rocket ship? Why does it make this model? How is this like? Why is this the right time for somebody that maybe has been, you know, in the back seat, off the burners? You know, maybe they've been in it, they fell off. Like,
well,
why?
This is it. We went back to what made us successful. It's 11 days. We've created 11-day system. Give us 11 days. Here are the tracks to run on. Just suck it up and do it. That's 11 days. Anybody can do anything for 11 days. Most other competitors to us are going to talk about months of changing your diet.
Yep.
As you know, as it relates to elimination or finding out what works for you, they don't see the results. We're seeing results in 11 days. We know that there's going to be enough of an aha moment in that first 11 days that most people are telling us, can I do it again? Never in my history in 17 years has anybody on my team gone through a detox and say, I'd like to do that again. Sign me up. Most people would say, got through that, but I don't know if I want to do that again.
Right.
But the point is that this is easy and they see the results, and mentally we change from the inside out. I don't know what it is. A part of the protocol, I think it's eliminating the carbs. We go from being carb drunk, carb addicted. We finally figured out how to break that carb addiction. And when you do, your mind opens up, you start thinking clearly, you start sleeping better, etc. That's the magic in the bottle. But there's nothing, not even in Isagenix, that gets you the results that you can get with ERShred. And we do it in a simplistic manner with community support. There is not another system out there that has this.
So
that's where I say that's the magic.
For you, the simplicity factor that it's anybody can do it. There's no like hoops to jump through. There's no whatever. It's just raw, basic, to the point. And you do this and you're going to get results that are going to shock the living bejesus out of you. And then when that happens, naturally, if you are surrounded by people, if you're at work, if you have family, if you have friends, if you have people that you're around, like everybody is every day, and you lose 15 pounds and your skin looks healthier, and all of a sudden you're not a miserable Karen walking down the street and you're a happy Jill. I just made, Karen Jill because of all this, I got that. I don't know, but all of a sudden you change. What's naturally going to happen with your circle of influence that's around you the most? They're going to say
when you feel better, you become more magnetic. You're a happier person. You have a higher energy. People are attracted to you for that alone. I can look at Sean. Sean's always been in good shape in my view, but he got cut. And he got, wow, you got ripped.
But what's going to happen, Bob? What's going to happen if that result happens? What's naturally going to happen with the people that are surrounding you? They're going to say
they're going to want it. They're going to want it, right? They're going to want it. So what happened with Sean? Sean had such a mental shift. It was his energy and his mindset. And I'm like, wow, you're changed. 2 months ago, you thought the world sucked. I mean, what the hell happened to you? He's like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. You're not going to believe it. And I listened to him, but I finally came to the conclusion to do it. But that's the energy. The people that become a walking poster for your result, it's only your personal result. People are attracted to you. They want what you have. Everybody in the world wants better sleep, more energy, and they want to look better. We have that in spades. This builds itself organically. All you got to do is just go out in the public and see people.
So let me paint this picture. Let me paint this picture for people. So let's say that Jesse decided at a young age that I wanted to become a doctor. At one point in time, I did want to do that. I was going deep into the medical field, and then I decided I wanted to shift a different way, which is where nutrition and health got into. But I wanted to be a doctor. And actually, you know what? Let's just use what I did. So I went to school. I got these certifications. I spent thousands of dollars. I spent hours and hours studying. I passed tests. I practiced on people. I become this nutrition guy and this health coach. And because of that, I turn around, I open up a business. I say, hey, I'm taking on new clients. You come into my practice, you commit to 6 months. I charge you $3,000+. You pay me in a monthly fee, and I'm going to help you. And that's the end of the story, right? And that's okay. But yet, if I come in and I get super, super healthy with something like this protocol, and I share it with my mom and my dad and my sister and my friends and even strangers at the coffee shop, and the company gives me a little bit of a reward, why people differentiate the difference of me going to school and then charging people money to help them is okay business, but then something like this is all of a sudden a pyramid scheme is the word.
Well, you're looking for this is a model based on consumption, and if you're going to be in this industry, you want to have a product that's a consumable. You don't want a one-time hit. You're describing client comes in 6 months, has success. They pat you on the back. They say, thanks, Jesse, I'm gone.
They might give me a referral too. They might give me a referral. They might give you
referrals, but you're working for that time for that individual. In this case, you get paid on referrals to infinity, and it never ends. And the key is all you need to do is support the people and celebrate their success and keep them in the game. That's all you have to do. You got to become a cheerleader. With that, you have unlimited income potential, and you're not going to get that putting your shingle out and saying, come and see me. How many clients could you handle in a given year?
Right.
You're limited.
My goal, my point though, Bob, with that is, and I appreciate where you're going with that, but my simple point for people to share with them was like, just understand that there's literally no difference. So somebody asked the question, how do I get myself out of this mindset, block? Well, understand that there's no difference in the two business models that I just shared with you, except one of them, you invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and thousands of hours to learn to then sell your service, where this you can come in, have a good experience and, be willing to say, yup, I'll be professional. Yup, I'll represent right. Learn as you go and automatically start doing it. I don't know why people get a bad taste in that. Was really kind of all I was trying to share with them. And
I think the biggest thing that I think people always look at an investment, they look at return on an investment, ROI is one category as an example. And Peter always asked me to put a return on investment on Isagenix in terms of what we do. And you can't do it because what is your cost? Is it $29? Maybe it's $300 for a month's supply to have that experience. Remember, we're placing groceries with these superfoods, right? So it isn't necessarily a cost. So you can't put a return on investment in terms of what your capital investment is. You started off earlier asking me, it takes money to make money. Yep. It takes money to buy a franchise. It takes money to build a business. It takes money to create wealth. You can create wealth literally almost out of nothing. Yep. Because you have to eat. And you're just going to use this for 30 days. You have a transformation. You decide if this is for you or not. But based upon what we've seen in ERShred, we're transforming lives in such a profound way. Our jaws are dropping. I've never seen anything like the transformation.
I think people, when that happens, you can confidently share with the utmost integrity and heart, because whether somebody says yes or no, that's not your business. That shouldn't bother you. That's not your place to even bother. But your job is to say, hey, this is what it's done for me. Let me share with you what I learned. You make an educated decision. If you decide yes, I'll support you. And because you're supporting, because you're guiding, because you're this, you're getting that there. But you're doing it in an authentic way because you're serving from the heart based off raw and real and profound results that you got. I just want people to understand that there's nothing sleazy, there's nothing slimy, there's nothing bad about that. Shift your mindset. Books that we shared with you.
We talk about empowerment and abundance, right? Yeah. We want people to come to our group because they want to be there. One thing I would like to say is that normally people give up after the first no. People say no to everything. They're not ready. They're going to say no regardless, just to throw it out there. But here's my point. It took me 4 months to finally say yes to Peter. But I finally did say yes. It took me 5 years to really get serious about the business, but I think I still was a good person to stay in touch with. But the most important thing is this: utilize our community. If they are saying not yet, hey, would it be okay if I throw you in our community? You can kind of kick around and see what you think about it. Let them get FOMO. Let them sit and see what this is all about. 3 months, 6 months, a year. The key to our industry, they always say, is in the follow-up. The follow-up becomes easy. If you put them in our community and you keep track of them, that is the best way to have people, allow them to come and arrive at the decision, okay, I'm ready. Yep. And you're going to find all you got to do is invite people to the party, invite them to the community, They may not say yes now, but I guarantee you in 1, 2, 3 years, they're either going to know somebody that wants this, or they're going to say, okay, I can't stand it anymore. I got to do this.
Very cool.
And that's what I love about this business model that we've created.
Listen, dude, this has been so much fun. Obviously, we've gone over. Let's respect people's time. Listen, we appreciate you if you hung in there. If you hung in there, you're the right people for this call. You needed to hear this, and time to us, like, this is not, this to me is not even a sacrifice. Like, this is so fulfilling to me, because if somebody didn't share this with me, if somebody didn't give this to me, I wouldn't have what I have today in the form of building that legacy, building that thing. I don't care, Bob, if it takes me 15 freaking years. I'd still be doing the same thing every day for 15 years and working. I just hope that people understand that it can go with life. It doesn't have to be an end all be all. There's so many other amazing benefits. And if it's just getting healthy, health is your greatest wealth. Health is your greatest wealth. You cannot put a price tag on that. You're spending money on junk food. You're spending money on stupid stuff. Give this 11 days, and who knows what can be there. So listen, Bob, I appreciate you. I love you. I love the fact that we've gotten to become buddies over these last 10 months. I didn't know you previously. To the ERShred, and because of this amazing community, and Sean connected me to you, and now we do this, and we have this vision and this mission in life together, and we're helping thousands and thousands and thousands and I'm going to say millions. I don't know why I said thousands, but millions we're going to get to. I know that without a doubt. I'm just grateful that I get to do it with you. And
people always want to ground out. They say, "Oh, the network marketing company Isagenix has been around 20 years. You've already seen your best days behind you." We're branding ERShred. We're branding our community. We're just getting started. This is a brand new ground floor opportunity to participate in something that's going to make a difference and impact lives. In my view,
partnered with a company that's been around for 20 years, that has that backing, that has that support, that I don't think people understand what they're getting their hands on. But listen, let's clean it. Let's wrap it. I think we gave so much value, so much information. But I wish we could go on and on and on. We'll have to do this again. This was a lot of fun. I hope you had fun. I appreciate you trusting me with your call, with your baby. I appreciate you getting in the hot seat. I know we have another flip and surprise for people coming up soon that we're not going to tell anybody. We'll keep that hush hush for now. But I really, truly hope that somebody got some massive value out of this. Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Don't let other people make decisions for you. Do your own research. And I hope that if you do decide to do this, I'm going to steal that line from Eric Worre. I hope you decide to do it as a professional, because if you do it as a professional and not like a sleazy, slimy, sneaky, creepy, deepy network marketer is what I call the other ways. But if you do it as a professional, it can absolutely be drastically life-changing. So, all right, guys, have an amazing night. Bob, we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very, very much, guys. Bye-bye. Have a great night.